Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for joining. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 glute growing tips. So if you want to grow your ass, make sure you watch this video. Before we get started, please can you all subscribe to my channel and make sure you like this video if you enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, so for some of you, I am going to sound a bit like a broken record here, but this is because I stand by these tips and I make my clients follow these rules every single time that they're training to make sure they're getting the results that they want. So tip number 1, lift heavier. If you're wanting to grow your glutes, you are ultimately growing muscle. And in order to grow muscle, you need to be putting your muscles in an environment to actually grow. And one way you can do this is by lifting heavier. Okay, so my next tip is to be including compound lifts in your training plan. So a compound exercise basically means that you target multiple muscles during one lift. These sort of exercises are going to be super important to include in your training plan because they are ultimately going to help you build up your physique and grow your glutes quicker. A few examples of the compound lifts that you are going to want to include in your training plan are things like squats, hip thrusts, deadlifts and split squats. Next up, we have time under tension. So time under tension refers to how quickly you perform an exercise. Coming back to tip number 1 about lifting heavier and finding ways to put your muscles in the environment to grow. Another great way to do this is by prolonging the time you put your muscles under tension for. As you can imagine, if you were to perform an exercise super quickly, the benefit that your muscles is going to have isn't going to be that high. However, if you compare this to performing an exercise super slow, the benefit is going to be a lot greater. And this is all going to be down to the time you put the muscles under tension for. So what I like to do for a lot of my clients is tell them to perform each exercise slow and give them a slow tempo, or suggest to them to do paused reps. So this is where they'll hold the rep for 3 to 5 seconds, really focusing on the tension that the muscles are under to basically get more gain out of that exercise. Tip number 4, focus on your exercise selection. If you want to grow your glutes, you really want to be making sure the variety of exercises that you have are going to target your glutes in different ways. So there are lots of glute exercises out there for you to try and for you to be doing, which are going to contribute towards growing your glutes. However, some exercises are going to target the top of the glutes more so than the bottom, the side of the glutes more so than the top, etc, etc. So you want to be making sure that you're including a variety of these exercises so that you can get full, well-rounded glutes. So with my training and for my clients that want to grow their glutes, I like to include exercises which are going to target both subdivisions of the glutes. For example, hip thrusts, glute bridges and frog pumps. Some sort of hinging exercise. So for example, you've got all the different deadlift variations. And finally, some sort of lateral exercise, which is going to help you target the top of the glute, or the shelf as people like to call it. So for example, you've got cable hip abduction, the seated hip abduction, or you could even use bands and use banded abduction instead. And last but not least, my final tip, to eat more protein. So all of my previous tips have been very training, exercise based. However, this final one is going to refer to your diet, in particular, the amount of protein you are eating. So if you have a goal of wanting to build muscle and grow your glutes, I would advise for you to be eating in a calorie surplus or at least a calorie maintenance to make sure that you are fueling your body in the right way to actually be able to lift heavier, etc, etc. You want to be making sure you are eating enough protein. So when you're in the gym, what you're ultimately doing is breaking down your muscles. Now, in order to build them back up and help them to grow, you need to be replenishing their muscles with protein. This is what helps them to recover and actually grow. So the foods which I would recommend for you to be eating, which are going to be high in protein, are things like beef, chicken, fish, beans and pulses if you don't necessarily eat meat, eggs, tuna, etc, etc. And there we have it. Those are my 5 tips to help you achieve well-rounded glutes. So just to recap, you want to be lifting heavier, including compound lifts in your training plan, taking advantage of time under tension, including all exercises which are going to hit all 3 glute muscles, and finally making sure you eat enough protein. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure you subscribe and like this video if it was helpful.